and foremost, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Paula Smith. I'm the director of the Brockton Vet Center. And I just want to thank personnel here in the CAP for inviting me to be the MC today. So before I introduce some honored representatives here today in honoring this vet center, I just want to talk very briefly about what the vet centers are. They're part of a nationwide program administered by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs to provide readjustment counseling, military sexual trauma counseling, and bereavement counseling to veterans and their loved ones. Community access points offers, such as this one, accessibility and convenience for local veterans in the Holliston and greater Metro West region in Massachusetts. Behavioral health counseling is offered 2 days per week at the Holliston site. Both individual and group counseling is available for combat veterans and their families. And in addition, the center provides counseling services to veterans who may not have been in combat but have experienced military sexual trauma or sexual harassment while they were on active duty. Bereavement services are also available for family members who have lost a service member or veteran in the line of duty. And finally, the center provides information and referral substance abuse treatment, as well as information for claims and benefits. I want to thank everyone for coming here today. And I'd like to thank especially the Board of Selectmen for donating their space so we can have the counseling center here. So at this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Francisco Urena. He is the Director of Central Mass Veterans Health Services. Just a bio of Mr. Urena. He was sworn in as Secretary of the Department of Veterans Services by Governor Charlie Baker in February 6, 2015. Secretary Urena's commitment to government service began the day after graduating high school when he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. In the span of 8 years of honorable service, his duties included diplomatic security with the Department of State at 2 American embassies, American Embassy Damascus, Syria, and American Embassy Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. He is a Purple Heart recipient from injuries sustained during Operation Iraqi Freedom Campaign. Mr. Urena followed his enlistment with a degree in history and legal studies from the University of Massachusetts, Lowell. While pursuing his education, he involved himself in a series of volunteer work, which ultimately led to his role as a Veterans Services Officer in the City of Lawrence, and later as Commissioner of Veterans Services for the City of Boston. In 2008, Mr. Urena was honored with Veterans Services Officer of the Year, awarded by former Veterans Services Secretary Thomas Kelly. He is committed to helping veterans live with dignity, honor, and independence, and ensures that the department and its initiatives focus on these goals. So at this point, I'd like to have Secretary Urena come to the podium.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled and honored to be here in Holliston, such a epicenter of so many great things that are happening. And I want to give a great shout out to your outstanding state representative, Carolyn, who anything veterans, she's always at the table ensuring that our veterans are listened to, that our veterans are spoken for, and that our families are also aspects of connection. Here in Central Mass, we also have a phenomenal veterans hospital system, and I want to thank the Director Collins of Central and Western Mass, who is here with his team of VA, because this is a partnership. Not the aspect of caring for our veterans. Yes, in Massachusetts, we do lead the nation when it comes to caring for veterans. Yes, we have a veteran service officer in every city and town. And with that aspect, it is not just our veteran service officers who are doing outstanding work, but it is the aspect of their partnership, of folks they're bringing to the table, such as this opportunity that developed of inviting the Vet Center to come out and have an aspect of counseling for our veterans who have sacrificed, who are looking for an aspect of reintegration and counseling. And to that same point, the Veteran Centers also help our families. And a system such as this that puts emphasis on focus on families, connection, it is something that is very important to me to ensure that we can do more of this and that we could have a sense of success to that. We have so many partners among us around this parking lot, and I want to thank them all for being here because they know the value of our veterans. They know the value of connections. And with that, I really thank them. I do want to thank Jeff Chungalo, who is the incoming president of the Association of Veteran Service Officers here in Massachusetts, and I want to give him a great round of applause for stepping up. He is currently the VSO in Arlington, Massachusetts, and thank you and welcome. So on behalf of our Governor Charlie Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and 365,000 veterans who call Massachusetts home, I really want to thank you all for this opportunity to join you all, to be here as we connect and ensure that this sense of system, this sense of opportunity can happen not just here in Massachusetts, but throughout the Commonwealth. Excuse me, not just here in Holliston, but throughout the Commonwealth. The aspect of these 12 veteran centers that we have, them wanting to do more, not just in their 12 locations, but expanding into these community points. It is a great example of what can happen with good partnership. Thank you so very much. God bless you all.
Our next speaker will be Representative Carolyn Dyke. Just want to, oh, you don't want a bio? Okay. Well, she's pretty important.
Thank you, Paul, and it's wonderful to be here and to be part of this. I know I speak for the entire community of including the selectmen are here, Selectman Jay Marsden, Jeff Ritter, who's our town administrator, to say how incredibly proud we are to have this new vet center right here in Holliston. Not only accessible to Holliston veterans who will benefit for these services, but in fact accessible to the entire region of veterans who need and deserve and have earned the services that are provided by this center. I want to thank the Secretary for coming out to Holliston. He's always so great about coming out into the community and being present with us for these really important milestones. And the Secretary had mentioned partnerships. Partnerships are so essential and so important. We've got the VA here. We've got our local veteran service officers working so closely with our legislative delegation, and we've got Dennis Giambetti here from Senator Spilka's office. We have Wade Blackman here from Congresswoman Clark's office, Vanessa Gatlin from Senator Markey's office. Right from the top, right on down, we are all focused on meeting the needs of our veterans and meeting them in a way that they need and should expect. And when I was sitting down with Mary and we were talking about what it meant to have this new center here in the community, and she was explaining to me what it would provide to our local veterans, and the fact that the services provided here are free, the services provided here are confidential, and the services are available to families as well as the veteran themselves. And if you talk to veterans in the community, those three things are essential to really providing the level of service that will allow them to come back into the community and understand how much their service is appreciated, not only through what we say, but also through what we do and the important work done here at this new facility. This is my first time to see this van, which is hopefully we're going to hear a little bit more about the role this plays, but this just allows for the effects and the support of this center to be felt even more broadly, and to know that it's our responsibility and it's so important that we reach out into the community and let veterans know the services that are here from them. I think one of our biggest challenges as a community, and why it's so important to work with the many partners that I think we're going to hear from Thanks to Yanks to all of the other folks that are here today, to find our veterans and make them aware that these services are available to them. So it's really just great to be a part of this. I want to recognize some local folks. We've got Bobby Blair here. Many of you may know Bobby. He has been a remarkable voice for veterans here in town. Many of you who have driven through town are familiar with the signs that go up every Memorial and every Veterans Day, recognizing our soldiers who have been lost in the line of duty since 9/11. And I think that's just one example, in addition to this new vet center, of how we are and how we need to be supportive of our veterans for all that they do for us. Also, Steve Bradford, who has really been a great participant, has been instrumental in helping pull this together and introduce the Vet Center to the community. Steve, I want to thank you for all you do and all that our local veterans groups do for the community. So I think we're going to hear from Paula again before we actually have the opportunity to cut the ribbon.
I'd like to introduce John Collins. He is the Medical Center Director for Central Massachusetts. He was appointed the director in September of 2014. He has a strong healthcare background in the U.S. Army, including being the Chief Operating Officer for Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. He was the commanding CEO for the Win Army Community Hospital at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and culminating as a commander Europe. Your Regional Medical Command, U.S. Army, Sembach, Germany. Mr. Collins has a master's degree in business administration, education, and national resource management. So I'd like to introduce John Collins at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, Representative Dyke, veterans, my fellow veterans, guests, Holliston residents, leaders, this is a special day. These community access points are so critical because they're part of the great Worcester Vet Center and Brockton Vet Center, and they provide a service in a place in the community where the veterans are that makes it a little bit easier than having to come to a big VA installation. But the services that I've seen them provide firsthand at both our vet centers in Worcester and Springfield and other CAPs are amazing. Bereavement counseling, to include families, military sexual trauma counseling, counseling for surviving spouses and families, and it's just an amazing group of professionals, and this is a great place to have it here in Holliston. I'm also excited to be here today for another reason, a very personal reason, and that is because Holliston is my hometown. I grew up my first 18 years in Holliston, graduated from Holliston High School right up here as a Panther and captain of the hockey team in 1978. And then my dad moved us to Shrewsbury. He became the superintendent of schools. And when I went off to Providence College in 1978, I never had a thought about being in the military. I knew my dad was in the Korean War, but he didn't talk about it much. And somehow I ended up in ROTC, and I spent 30 years as an officer in the United States Army, a combat veteran, and somebody that, thank you, and somebody that had the privilege for 30 years of serving soldiers and family members in the Army Medical Department. And so coming to become the director of VA Central Western Mass, I view as a continuum of what I've been doing my whole career. And to come back to Holliston 40 years later to do something for veterans, it's like coming full circle. So I'm very proud to be here. As a Representative Dyke said, I think Massachusetts, and the Secretary re-emphasized it, is really the greatest state in the nation when it comes to veterans. We have so many organizations, state, federal, local, town, not-for-profits, universities, colleges, businesses, with so much energy going towards taking care of veterans that I think our single biggest challenge is how do we synchronize and coordinate all of this, and so everyone's doing great work, and we'll keep working at it as a leadership, how to bring everything to bear. But in the meantime, I want to make a shout out to Sarah and to the other VSOs here. You know, we're the VA, but the tip of the spear is out in the community, like this CAP, like these VSOs. They are there at the tip of the spear, and we could not do our job without them. They do so much up front. So I want to give a round of applause for those folks that are here. And the last thing I'll say is just to leave you with a note, a serious note, not to leave it on a downer, but 20 veterans, 20 of our fellow veterans a day in this nation commit suicide. 14 of those 20 never had any connection with veteran services or the VA. 14. Our challenge to ourselves is to find those 14. And we can do that if you know a veteran that's struggling, have them come here. Have them go to a vet center. Have them come to a VA facility. Call the Veteran Crisis Line. There's cards back here. But let's take on as a challenge this next year as the VA starts their campaign this summer called Getting to Zero. Let's all make a personal commitment that if we find a veteran out there, and many are isolated, that we help them get connected with veteran services, because there's so much here in the Commonwealth. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. Thank you all. This will be a great addition to our team of all these resources, and enjoy this beautiful day. Thank you.
So I'd like to, before we do the official ribbon cutting, I'd like to just memorialize and honor this day on behalf of the House of Representatives and the Massachusetts Senate, as well as all of the legislative delegation that are here today and the town. It reads, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives and all those here standing with me today offers its sincerest congratulations to the Holliston Community Access Point in recognition of the joyous occasion of your grand opening and your outstanding commitment to local veterans as the newest Vet Center Community Access Point. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success, signed by the Speaker of the House, Robert DeLeo, Carolyn, Dyke, State Representative, Senator Spilka, and again, so many who are here today to congratulate you. So, Paul, for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I want to thank again everybody who's come here today, and we will do our best to service veterans. I'm a veteran myself, but we're out there every day trying to help veterans make their way home. Thank you again, and now the ribbon cutting ceremony. The next person is Ms. Kelly Durkee. She's with the Massachusetts National Guard Military and Family Programs, located in Wellesley. Kelly Durkee is the Family Assistance Center Specialist. Here you go, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm so glad she's short because I hate adjusting microphones. As she said, my name is Kelly Durkee Erwin. I represent 9 other family assistance specialists for the Mass National Guard Family Program. We have 9 locations throughout the state, from the islands to New York up to New Hampshire. Anywhere you have a soldier or a veteran, we're available. We do a lot of work, and we'll refer, basically someone comes to us, and in any other profession you would call us a social worker. They call us family assistance specialists. Today I helped someone with their senior circuit breaker tax credit because they didn't know that one existed. That has nothing to do with veterans, but if we can help our veterans save money. I do all the social media for this program, so you might have seen our YouTube videos, but we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And why is that important? Because most of our service members from 18 to 34, that's how they communicate. They will not walk into an office. They will not make a phone call. That's why I think Secretary Urena is on social media all the time, because he's trying to reach all of our veterans. He comes to events like this because other veterans only come to events. They come in person. So if you call one of us, we'll refer you to the VA, to VetSync, Shoulder to Shoulder, ACCC, JF&CS, the Legion, the VFW, the Elks. Whoever can get the job done, we help any veteran of any era with any issue, and we'll try to get you the answer. If we can't, we'll call Secretary Urena's office. But there are times, we were just in the Holden newspaper the other day because we helped the guy whose nephew deployed and a tree fell in his yard. And he couldn't do it because he was on chemo and the only guy in his house was deployed. And the Legion in the town worked with the VSO and they got that tree out of the yard. So there might not be a state program that does it, but we know people. So we will help you to find each other. And Mr. Collins was just talking about having people that connect people. That's what we do. We network you to the right person. I can't do the stuff, but I know the people who can. So reach out to your Mass National Guard Family Program, especially if you're in the National Guard. And the other thing I'll tell you, veterans that are here, some of your fellow veterans are suffering, and they won't reach out for help unless you recommend that they call their VSO or their senator or Mass Vets Advisor. Sit down with them and say, hey, I hear you don't have food. Well, the Newton 440 just started a partnership with the Greater Boston Food Bank, and they can help people in our area get food. I bet your Legion or your VFW or your Elks does that too. So help them reach out if you know someone in need, because we can help them. That's all I'm saying is we can help you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Before I forget, I want to thank the policeman that's in the back over here who's donated his time to come and make sure we're all safe.
How you doing? I'm Craig Hall. I work with the Springfield Vet Center, and as she said, I run the mobile vet center. And my job is pretty much to help out the local outreach specialists for all the vet centers throughout, not just Massachusetts, but all of New England. So whatever I can do to go to an event they got going on, or going out in the community, just meeting veterans and everything, I will be there, and I will do everything I can to make sure that the veteran has the resources they need to sustain themselves, and also to help them find the resources, that you all push. And also, different events. It's a great billboard, so I do what I can to help out. Thank you very much.
Okay, John Paradis, who's an outreach specialist, VA Central Western Massachusetts Healthcare System, to say a few words. Okay, John.
So I'm the Regional Outreach Coordinator for VA New England. I get the honor of going to many events throughout the region. In the past year, VA New England supported 500 community events. We're the only team in the nation that does this. And I think the message today from all of our speakers, from Secretary Arena to Mr. Collins, is it's really about community partnerships. We're finding that the best way to meet the veterans' needs is to partner with our community organizations. And I got to tell you that in New England, the best practice is right here in the Commonwealth. And I know we pride ourselves each and every day that we lead the nation in the level of services, but I think what truly makes a difference is the community partnerships. So we're very proud of that within the VA. The other thing that I guess for all of us here that are veterans, it's a surprise to some extent, but for all the events I go to, the number of veterans that are not familiar with the benefits they have earned, whether it's local, state, or federal. The national statistic is 50%. The research we've done in New England is about 45 to 55% of all veterans are unaware of the benefits they have earned. Those of you that are here, I know that you have access and are using the plethora of benefits and programs. I think it's incumbent for all of us as veterans to advocate for one another and to get the word out. That's what my position is all about. That's why community partnerships are so important. Oftentimes I'll have a veteran that approaches us at a veteran outreach event at our tent, and they'll say that, I never thought about applying, or I never thought about VA, or I never thought about going to my municipal town hall. I want to make sure that the young guys coming back from the war, they get it. And I tell them, I said, sir, ma'am, you earned it. You raised your right hand. You said you would protect and honor and defend our country, and now it's your turn. And not only that, but by you coming in and using whatever the program is that you need, you're helping a fellow veteran, because that's how the system works, right? The more we use the programs and benefits that we've earned, the more local government, state government, federal government are going to fund those programs. So not only is VA healthcare an exceptional value for our veterans, no co-pays or minimal co-pays, no deductibles, no annual premiums. Not only is it an exceptional value, but it's an exceptional way to advocate for a fellow veteran. So on behalf of Craig, the vet centers, all the VA specialists throughout New England that provide daily care 24/7 to our veterans, it's an honor to be here. And if you know of a veteran that needs services and care, it's no better opportunity than today to sign them up for VA healthcare or VA services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Next, Donna Lee Shane from the Thanks to Yanks program, located on Virginia Drive, Milford, Massachusetts. There you go, Donna.
Thank you. Ooh. Is that all right? Is that better?
Can everybody hear her? Come up a little bit closer. Yeah.
Better?
There you go.
I'm not a public speaker, nor a politician, nor someone that works for the government. I'm a citizen. I'm not a veteran. But I represent a program called Thanks to Yanks that my husband and I started 11 years ago, simply to say thank you to veterans and military families. And over the course of the last 11 years, what we're finding ourselves doing is trying to fill in gaps where services are not provided. To give you just a couple examples, because I could go on forever and I won't, this year we're hosting a special needs retreat weekend for military families who have children with special needs that otherwise would not have a vacation. It's totally free to those families. And every year on 9/11, as I'm sure most of you already know, we host a dinner for veterans, military members, and their families. 450 people are in attendance. It's completely free to our veterans. It's simply a way to say thank you. But over the course of the last 3 years, we have identified areas where there's a greater need, and we try to fill the needs that other programs cannot. And that's why I'm here, is I'm asking those programs that are in the area that are working with veterans and military families that find that there's a need and they don't have the resources to reach out to us. This year we've provided so far $7,000 across the country to veterans and their families. From everything from food cards to utility payments to rental assistance, you name it, we've done it. 97% of what we raise goes directly back to our veterans. And I'm humbled to be here to say to you that those that work for us in our organization are not paid volunteers. They're not paid employees. They're all volunteers. We all work full-time somewhere else. And I'm just thankful that I had today off so I could be here to say, please reach out to Thanks to Yanks if you need anything. We're happy to help you. We're honored to help you. Thank you all for your service, and God bless.
Hello, everyone. I am Fran Cooley. I served in the U.S. Air Force for over 16 years and married to an Air Force Lieutenant Colonel retired, and my daughter just pinned on captain. So we're a family of military. My family was Navy, so I went the other way for other reasons, but I'm happy with both. I love all the military organizations. I had the privilege of taking over recently the International Veterans Chorus. We call that international because over the years we've had a member who was from Scotland in the British forces. We've had a member from the Japanese forces and currently from the Hungarian forces. So we seek out to work with children, to work with adults, and what we try to do is provide education and entertainment for all ages, especially teaching children that people who serve their countries in different military services can join together as a unified group to promote peace through song. So Peace on Earth is one of our big songs. We really want to spread peace on earth. We're located out of Leominster, Mass. That's where we practice. And we just really are all branches of the service, and we enjoy coming together in song. Looking forward to going to Washington next year to sing with the U.S. Air Force Orchestra. So that's going to be a great trip for us. In addition to the Veterans Chorus, I'm also a board member for the Homestead. And this is an organization that supports homeless veterans, which most of the time that's because of substance abuse or physical problems. And so now we have a facility that is in Gardner, Mass. They actually have a rehab center there. They can help you physically do physical rehab. There's social work there for any kind of PTSD. They have service dogs there that can help the veterans out. They also have condos for your family to live in while the service member is retrained, because maybe they can't go back because of a service injury to working where they used to work in that field. So they need a whole new training. So there is an agreement with Mount Wachusett to help them in that area. So I am on that board, and we're constantly, trying to promote that program. There are different locations, a house in Puerto Rico, a house in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire. That is not really just a house, that's a working farm. And then we have 2 places in Leominster and also a hospice located in Fitchburg. So if we have a big event coming up, I wanted to give a plug for, if anyone is interested. The homestead is having something called Mission Possible, Friday, 8 September at the Great Wolf Lodge in Fitchburg. So that's just a great opportunity to come together for silent auction, food stations, and just to show your support for this wonderful program that gives over 90% of the funds back into the program. So that's a high number that we're really proud of. Thank you very much today, and good luck to the new center here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here. Veterans, Inc. supports and helps veterans and their families throughout New England. Mainly, we focus on homelessness. We transition veterans from homelessness into permanent housing. We have good collaboration with MVOC, DVS, the VA, and all the service providers here we collaborate closely with to eliminate homelessness amongst veterans. In the last 6 years, the statistics show that the collaboration is working very well. 47% of veteran homelessness has been reduced due to the efforts here, primarily in Massachusetts and throughout the country. So there's been great strides in that area. We also help out with employment and training. We have a grant through the Department of Labor, which is called the Homeless Veteran Reintegration Program, to help veterans get employed. We also have a food bank every second and fourth Thursday of the month at our Grove Street location to help veterans and their families in need with groceries. And we have a supportive services for veteran families team helping veterans get into housing rapidly and also prevent veterans who are behind on their rent, pay the landlord on their behalf to help them remain in housing. We feel strongly about the strong collaboration that we have with our partners here throughout Massachusetts and New England. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry. Mike Anderson from the Massachusetts Veterans Outreach Center. We provide transitional and supportive housing, permanent housing, counseling, food pantry, clothing pantry, benefits advocacy, medical transportation, and we're located out in Gardner. We are a nonprofit. We've been around for 35 years. And I want to thank you so much for having us here today to be amongst you. I'm a combat infantryman from 2005, 2006 in Ramadi. Thank you. I was in the National Guard, so working on Mondays is still new to me. So I appreciate that. Please don't throw me out. Individually, a lot of the problems that the men and women face, they seem insurmountable, but together they can be either reduced or completely resolved from the men and women standing here in this parking lot through our organizations. And I want to really stress that it's working together that we resolve all these problems. Thank you so much for having us. Continue to do the work that you do. Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know that what I do through my organization is act as a financial resource for all veterans, active service members. And I also help you guys connect with other resources, because when you're looking at somebody's finances, whether it's a budgeting issue or credit or collections issue, you need everybody involved. It's not just one thing. And I think that's what you've heard as a theme for today. And it's very important to understand that. Also, you heard mentioned earlier the Mass Vet Advisor website. Anybody that does not have that website card on them at all times, you need to go to my table and grab one, because there are over 441 different resources in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, not just state and federal. Okay, nonprofits like my organization are here to help in any way, shape, or form that we possibly can. I travel all over New England teaching about finance. The organization does budget counseling, credit counseling, debt management programs. Unfortunately, we also do bankruptcy certifications. Sometimes they are needed. But anybody that needs some help, please send them our way. If I can't help, one of the other organizations can. We all act like a web. We all work together. And it takes a village. It really does. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Garrett Souza. I'm a district manager with AutoZone. And I'd like to thank Sarah for inviting us here for today. And I would also like to thank all the veterans that are here for their service. So thank you very much. The reason we are here, AutoZone has a long, actually 38-year tradition of hiring veterans. We've got over 5,000 stores, and we've hired thousands of veterans over those years. We've got a brand new store opening in Framingham, Massachusetts. It's the largest AutoZone in New England. We're looking to hire about 140 employees. So if anyone is interested, friends, family, we'd love to talk to you. We have a small table over there, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the veterans, the spouses, and the families for all the sacrifice that you made. I don't come from a military background, but the work that I do gives me such satisfaction to know that we're helping at Comfort Zone Home Care and through my personal family. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor, so thank you very much. Comfort Zone Home Care is a locally owned home care agency. And what we do, which differentiates us from all the many different home care agencies that are out there, is that we help provide a benefit called Aid in Attendance. It's a VA pension benefit that we help you get the benefit. We do the paperwork. We do not charge. We work hand in hand with your local VAs, VSOs, and then what we do is we help you get the benefit, and then the benefit, which has to be used for a medical expense like home care, is what we do. We provide the service. When you go to somebody like Sarah, who's fantastic, and she'll help you get the benefit, what do you do with it? That's where we kind of come in. We actually help provide the caregivers to your home to do the personal care, the transportation. Maybe it's just cleaning out a linen closet. You just can't do it. Meal preparation. Those are the kinds of things and many, many more other wonderful things that our caregivers can do for you and your family. I'll be here for quite the afternoon and for a good part of the afternoon. Happy to help, have my cards and brochures. And again, thank you for this opportunity, and God bless America.
Hello, as mentioned, I'm the Worcester Area Program Manager for Shoulder to Shoulder, where our motto is, when one person serves, the whole family serves. So at Shoulder to Shoulder, what we offer is easily accessible in-home peer support for military families, and we provide these services through recruiting military-connected volunteers to provide non-clinical support and helping our families build up their resilience through engaging in problem-solving skills and stress management. We also are all military connected so that we can ensure there is a special empathic level in which we can connect with one another. Likewise, we also provide the full spectrum of referral services for those families and service members who do require additional support. We have 45 services in our parent agency, JF and CS, and we are well connected with all the different organizations in central Massachusetts and the Boston area. We also host events for our military families throughout the year so that they can establish further connections and meaningful relationships with other military families. For example, we have a barbecue coming up at a Lowell Spinners baseball game. We host apple picking in the fall. We have roller skating events, and we plan them year-round. The great thing about our services is that they are all 100% philanthropically funded and free to the military families we serve. And we have no restrictions in terms of who can access our services. Thank you.
Okay, that is it for our menu today. Thank you once again for coming.